Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Militarily, let's do this realistically. Militarily, Putin's losing in some senses, right? Especially when it comes to denazifying Kyiv. We know that's not really what's going on there. But a lot of the other country side, he's winning. And here's the sad thing, and we talked about it last week, and I'm going to continue to tell you this over and over again. At some point, Zelensky is going to have to make a tough decision to give away portions of his land and to stop the killing. Because at some point, this is just, you're not going to watch your country, you're not going to watch half your population leave, a portion of it killed, because the guy next to you has way more than you do, and he's willing to withstand this because he doesn't care. Now, yesterday, you had Biden come out and say what a lot of people do. He's a war criminal. He's a war criminal. He's a war. Yeah, and that means absolutely nothing to him. Right? He's not going to be tried in any real way. He doesn't care. The chances, by the way, of getting somebody actually to a position where you try them are slim to none. Slim to none. He's going to outlast this criticism while probably grabbing more power within his country. I don't know if you saw some of the latest polls, but a majority of the people in Russia not only support him, and these are from independent poll takers, there's a good portion of the people didn't even know that there was any kind of pushback or protest against what's going on. That's the sad reality of this. And it's horrible. Let's be real. It is horrible what we're seeing.
This idea of crowdsourcing intelligence, that tens of thousands of people who've contributed with social media and satellite imagery to put together the details and to document these atrocities. So in the short term, I don't think that we're going to get justice. But the good news is that the ability to document the future and the history of where this war has gone will ensure that Putin can't erase what has happened.
No. The best thing that people can do is continue to throw more sanctions, continue to crush down more sanctions, and listen to the words I'm saying right now. It is April. In the next 3 weeks, things are going to warm up to a point where the fear factor of people freezing in Europe that are highly dependent on Russian oil and gas are going to fall off precipitously. Once that happens, you watch, there'll be even harsher sanctions as this thing continues to go. This time next year, according to several, Europe will be off a majority of the oil and gas that Russia has, minus a few holdouts, the likes of Viktor Orban in Hungary, and a few others, Pakistan, India, and China. Fine, let it be. Let it be. But when you are looking over there, if you're India and Pakistan, you're like, why would I pay top dollar when I don't have to pay top dollar? You got nowhere else to go, bro. Sell it to us cheaper than what's going on in the marketplace. You got nothing else going on. China, you think China's going to pay top dollar? Probably not. That's the best that can come out of this. That's it. Nothing else. Now, they're going to go out and they're going to say, all right, here's the way this thing should go down when it comes to war crimes.
Now, President Biden is hoping to lay the groundwork to bring Putin to court.
We have to gather all the detail so this can be have a war crime trial. This guy is brutal.
Does he expect Putin to turn himself in to stand trial, or does he think somebody's going to have to go into Russia and arrest him?
Well, without getting into the mechanisms, there is precedent in the past of how this process can work. We're not going to prejudge what the process would work.
Because you don't know, and there is nothing about this that's going to actually come to fruition. There's not. He's done. You freeze him out. He's going to grab more power. He's going to continue to laud his nuclear weapons over everybody's head. And we all move on with our lives. And we come to the realization that NATO's got to be stronger for the next 20 years while this guy's still alive. And that they're going to be completely isolated from the rest of the world. They're going to turn themselves into North Korea, except they have something to export to a few countries. Outside of that, that's just what you're going to see. Nothing else. So you can go around and say, oh, we're going to try him, right? Because they're going to do it in absentia. What's that mean?
Ultimately, we could be looking at all that being gathered and then being presented for some kind of prosecution in the ICC, International Criminal Court, some kind of process that will, in absentia probably, be trying to bring Russian commanders, soldiers on the ground, and the Russian leadership to some kind of justice. But until there is any change of regime in Russia, that's going to be fairly token. It will be an absentia, and we're not going to see prosecution brought, obviously, against Vladimir Putin or any other commanders around him anytime soon.
No. You just have to figure out where you stop the bleeding if you're Zelensky at this point. Not a lot else is going to go on. It's horrible to say, but it's the reality of what's going on. He's in a position right now where he doesn't care about his people. He's not going to sleep at night going, oh, my people are suffering. He doesn't care. He figures, I'll figure a way around it. We'll muster up enough to keep them somewhat happy. The young will bitch, and we'll quiet them. The old will accept the fact that this is very Soviet-like, and suffering is part of what we do as Russia and Russians, and the world is against us. And go from there. Sad, very sad, but the reality of this. Doesn't mean he's going to win a battle or a war. It means at the end of the day, what he probably set out to do, he's going to end up doing. He'll have that Donbass region. He'll have that bridge to the seas and his warm ports that he wants, and he'll have even more natural gas, the second largest reserve potentially in Europe. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I do find it interesting. I do. You know, I mean, we're in this position where we sit here and I think we're trying to do everything we can and think of what we can do. And it sucks because at the end of the day, there's not a lot. Outside of him being deposed, outside of him being actually thrown out, outside of somebody within the mechanism of the Kremlin and his inner workings, there is zero that people are going to do. Zero. We're just going to have to sit back and go, well, this is what it is at this moment in time. Can we contain it? And what does that even mean when we contain it? What does that even mean as far as, is it just containing it to this portion and it doesn't spill out to Moldova or elsewhere? Are we going to be forceful in our actions when we say, if you try to get involved anywhere else, we're going to push back and we'll actually get involved and let him know up front that that's what's going to happen? But I don't think he wants that at this moment. I think he's going to get what he gets, and he's going to be fine with it for now. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of Twitter, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Yesterday, Elon Musk grabbed himself a bunch of Twitter.
One of Twitter's loudest critics is now the largest shareholder of the company. Tesla CEO Elon Musk bought 73.5 million shares of Twitter, acquiring more than a 9% stake in the social media site. Musk did not disclose what he paid, but the investment would have cost around $3 billion based on last Friday's value.
Yeah. So why did he do that? It's a good question. We're going to talk about why he did that. We're going to talk about a lot of this stuff. Just to let you guys know, they've appointed him to the board today. He's the largest single shareholder. He's got 9.2% of the company. And it's very interesting the way that the CEO of Twitter is reacting to some of the stuff, because he's putting up polls. And as he puts up these polls, you're now getting the CEO of Twitter saying, hey, people, remember to answer this with care. Like, if you answer it the way that he doesn't like, he's going to have you kicked off Twitter, which has been one of the issues that people have talked about. Talk about that. A lot of stuff to get into today. And yes, we have a national champion. I heard it was a great game. I did not get home in time to see the end of it, but I heard they stormed back. We'll talk about Kansas, the Jayhawks. Was it Rock? That's not Rock and Sock'em. It's I don't know. Something Jayhawk. I don't even know. Basketball gets played? Yes, college basketball gets played. It's been a couple years since they've had fans there. How was that? Some COVID news as well, squeeze into today. And then insanity. The race battle and insanity that is going on that I find just at this point so ridiculous. And when you hear what Andrew Sullivan went through on the Jon Stewart's show, the problem with, and this time was the problem with white people, it is... God, it's just the ass kisses of the world are tremendous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Calibrate helps you lose weight. And losing weight is important. Now starting to say, hey, look, you know what? Obesity wasn't good for the coronavirus. No, it's not good for anything. I think all of us could lose some. That's why I choose Calibrate. Calibrate it's simple. And simple in a way where you're not going to spend 12 hours pre-cooking stuff, weighing it. Simple as in small lifestyle changes combined with FDA-approved medication equals an actual metabolic reset that gives you real sustained weight loss. Fits into anybody's schedule. On average, Calibrate's earliest members lost well over 15% of their body weight. That can be you. Right now, go to joincalibrate.com. Use code CHAD. You're going to save $50 off a one-year metabolic reset. It is the easiest thing you will do because it's about real world and using the FDA-approved medication to reset your metabolism that gets a little wonky, especially as you get older, and you watch what happens. JoinCalibrate.com. Use code CHAD to save $50 off. JoinCalibrate.com. Use promo code CHAD. Chad Benson Show.
Podcasts are American as hot dogs, apple pie, football, and sushi.
Oh my goodness.
No. Okay, maybe not sushi. Next time you have a craving for something sweet and tangy, download a Chad Benson Show podcast.
Boy, that is good. It's different because you get a little bit of saltiness. It's so good because it's sweet and salty at the same time.
Get a taste on iTunes, iHeart, or Spotify and binge to your ears' content.
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
After the first 20 minutes, it looked as though 8th seed North Carolina would buck the odds and take down the number 1 seed Kansas. No team had ever overcome the 15-point lead that the Heels had at halftime. But Coach Bill Self and his Jayhawks did just that.
To win when your team had to fight and come back the way they did makes this one off the charts.
Self has now been at the helm for 2 of the Jayhawks' 4 championship victories.
Yeah, I didn't win anything. I had chosen Arizona, who got eliminated, 3 months ago. I don't even know when they last played. Once my team's out that I choose to win, and I had Kansas, but I'm like, nah, it's not going to be Kansas. But lo and behold. And now we'll have to hear over the next several days how many billions of dollars were lost. Trillions of dollars, gazillions of dollars were lost based on anyone. Yeah, the Final Four and all that stuff. I love that stuff when they did it. But Kansas, congratulations, you are a winner. Elon Musk has fought with Twitter a lot, right? They fought with Twitter. He's fought with Twitter on numerous occasions. You know, he talks about free speech. I'm a huge fan of free speech. Free speech is what we are about. For all the people out there who don't like their feelings to get hurt, who believe that they're in some sort of special group, that they should be protected at all costs from any kind of criticism or whatever that comes at them. The reality is without free speech, you know, civil rights, all of these, none of these things would ever have come about without free speech. Understand that. Get a sense of the reality of those things. That without free speech, civil rights doesn't happen. Without free speech, the LGBT doesn't happen. Without free speech, those things don't take place. But now we've gotten to a world where wokeness matters more than anything else. Feelings matter more than anything else. Somewhere they believe there's somewhere in the Constitution where people feel like that, hey, we're protected and we shouldn't be hurt. And that's been a huge thing for Elon Musk. He pushes and pushes because, like a lot of us, I find it to be ridiculous that so much of the stuff, like, just think about this for a second. Hunter Biden. New York Post is what, the third or fourth largest publication in America? They were told, your story's a lie. You can't be anywhere. It's a lie about the whole Hunter Biden thing. Your story is a lie. You're a publication, and this is false. You're a lie. Everything you've done here is a lie. It's fake. It's propaganda. It's BS. Taking it down, and we're suspending your account. That's scary. It is. So yesterday, old Elon went and purchased himself 9% of this. Why, you ask? That is a good question.
Analysts believe Musk may want to force change at Twitter. He recently raised questions about free speech on the platform, tweeting last month, given that Twitter serves as the de facto public town square, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally undermines democracy. What should be done? He also previously tweeted he was giving serious thought to creating an all-new social media platform. Experts say his next step could be getting a seat on Twitter's board of directors,
which he now has as of today. Well, he might want to force change. What's change? The minute you start to editorialize, and this is not about violence, right? If you're advocating for violence against another person or another group of people, that is one thing. If you just say, I believe that a Wuhan lab was where the COVID came from, that is not violence. If you say that I believe a woman is this and a man is this, that is not violence. We got more to talk about with this because it needs to be talked about. It's Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Putin doing Putin does. You know, it's interesting. They talked about the information war, right? How the Ukrainians have won that, right? So they've won the information war. Well, they've won the information war where we're concerned. Right? They've got, where we're concerned, they've absolutely won it. I'm surprised they've allowed TikTok, with the Chinese in control of TikTok, that TikTok's allowed them to get so much stuff out. But when it comes to Telegram and Discord and of course Twitter and all of this stuff, of course they've won it. They've absolutely won it. They've allowed that because we look at them and say, you were invaded. You had no right to be invaded. It was wrong. So yes, of course they're going to win it. And we all know that what Putin is doing is wrong. We all know he's a war criminal. By the way, before this, I think a majority of the world goes, that guy's a war criminal. He's a killer. No, so none of this is new. This is just a new situation that is horrific. But of course the Ukraine has won it. And you've got a young guy in the Ukraine who understands completely how all social media works. He gets it. Let's remember, his television stardom was YouTube stardom. Gets social media, understands. That's why when you hear him talk, he's always, make sure your social media is out there and doing this. He understands what that's all about. He gets it. I'm a big free speech guy. I get people tell me all the time how much I suck, and I don't ever want them to not have the opportunity to tell me what a horrible person I am. Sounds weird, right? Like, first of all, two reasons. One, I'm a big boy and I can take it. Two, I don't live in the internet world. I do the stuff. I could do a lot more. I could do a ton more. Not because of the criticisms, just because it's such a misery. That's the big thing. So people could say horrible things about me all the time. If I dare mention something that the woke intelligentsia doesn't like, I get yelped at or suspended. This is Parag Agrawal. I probably screwed up his name. I am sorry about that. People probably got, that's racist. You should know his name. He is the CEO of Twitter, talking about essentially what Twitter should be about. This is the CEO of Twitter. Now, you're a private company, and you can do what you want with your company, but when you start to editorialize, that means when you start making decisions based on what people should and shouldn't see, well, you lose that kind of free market world that you're wanting to live in with all of the protections that you want.
Our role is not to be bound by the First Amendment, but our role is to serve a healthy public conversation. And our moves are reflective of things that we believe lead to a healthier public conversation. The kinds of things that we do to work about this is to focus less on thinking about free speech, but thinking about how the times have changed. One of the changes today that we see is speech is easy on the internet. Most people can speak. Where our role is particularly emphasized is who can be heard.
That's the scary part. So your role isn't to listen to the First Amendment, isn't to follow the First Amendment on Twitter. Your role is to understand that times have changed and that it's not about everybody has a chance to speak. It's about who should be heard. That's scary. It's like the whole thing with Hunter Biden. Do I think there's some there with Hunter Biden? Yeah, I think more and more. I think he's in a lot of trouble. Do I think his pops knew what was going on? Your dad would have been an idiot not to know. Did he placate you in a lot of ways? Yes. Does it mean that you were deeply involved? No. All that aside, it wasn't about that scares me. What scared me was people decided that in the place that we now really consider the town square, that you were told by a certain group of people, you cannot have this conversation. This conversation is persona non grata. You cannot come here and talk about Hunter Biden or the Wuhan lab or flat Earth or disagreeing with 4,000 genders or disagreeing with climate change, or you cannot have certain conversations because we deem it not something we want to hear. And that's scary. That's, to me, the scarier side of this stuff. And people, it should piss you off. Even if you're a super lefty, I will fight for everything that you want to say 100%. 100%. I will fight for you because nobody has the right to be shut up. Now, again, if you're advocating violence, if you're saying go out and kill a group because they're gay or because they're black, or that is a different story. But if you're saying, hey, I believe marriage should be this, you shouldn't be shut up. If you're saying, I believe there's 15 million genders and everybody's gay, you should have the opportunity to have that voice. Why Elon Musk is doing this is interesting. But it is coming at a time, I think, where people are frustrated. People are sick and tired of feeling like that, hey, you know what? 80% of the country feels the way that you do, but you would be shut out of the conversation because 10% don't care at all. And this other 10%, well, they feel like they should run the conversation.
Musk doesn't put one toe in the water. He dives into the deep end of the pool. This is a start of what's going to be probably a long-term soap opera between Twitter and as well as Elon Musk.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people, he jokes around like, oh, maybe we should all buy it and then we'll shut it down. He didn't want to do that. You're not spending $3 billion and then you watch what happens. He's slowly going to surely buy 8% here, 12% there, 1% here, 2% there. Probably shell corporations that set up. And along the way, he's going to accumulate enough that gives him such power within there. So you want him to force people to be heard? No, I think what people want is a line drawn where you say, these are the rules. If you advocate death, if you advocate violence, if you're throwing out sexual content that is insane, especially where young children can be seen, because if that's the way we're going to be, then why do we even have ratings in movie theaters? If you're doing any of those kind of things, but if you're just coming out and saying, hey, I believe such and such or this and that, and you should be able to be heard. You should. And I think it's going to be very uncomfortable for people who don't like what's going on. They don't. They just, it's the disingenuousness of the media should piss everybody off.
If somebody with 80 million followers wants to have say, and you have a board filled with people who don't even use the product, don't even tweet, why wouldn't you want to hear what he has to say?
Yeah. And we should. And it'll be very interesting to see what he does with it. You got the money, you've got the opportunity. And Anthony and I were chatting, we were texting back and forth about this is scary. This is the way it is now. I mean, look at what Disney's trying to do. Trying to force a state to change a law because it's a pretend law in their mind that has nothing to do with reality. What do you mean it's a pretend law? The Don't Say Gay bill is not what it's called. When you go and read the law, nowhere in there does it say, don't say gay. But people have bought into it, and now they believe that this is what it's all about. It's all about the don't say gay. That's not what it's about. None of this is any of that stuff. None of it says don't say gay. None of these things in there say that. Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm going to say this, and this is my thing. If there's a don't say gay bill, there should be a don't say straight bill.
Remember that? So, if there's a don't say gay, then well, that's why it doesn't say don't say gay or don't say straight. It doesn't say any of those things in there. How about this lady? A drag king preschool teacher.
As a preschool teacher, a drag king, and as a member of the LGBTQ community, how do I feel about the new legislations, the Don't Say Gay bill, or the reporting of transgender kids? My opinion on it is that I don't care what the government tells me to do. I am going to do what I think is best for the health and safety. And that includes mental health and safety and emotional health and safety of my kids. As a preschool teacher, a drag king, and as a member of the LGBTQ community, I will never let any child come through my classroom feeling unloved or ashamed for who they are.
You're a GD preschool teacher. Gender should not be the topic. I have a 3-year-old who's in preschool. The topic should be the color blue, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's count to X. Those are the things that should be on topic. Learning, understanding, not about, oh, you're a drag king, which, by the way, as Anthony points out, is, not a sexual orientation. But you're a preschool teacher. That's insane. That is insane. All because of the Don't Say Gay bill, which it doesn't say. Because nobody bothers to read any of the stuff. Nobody bothers to read it because they're too busy going out and virtue signaling and throwing out a bunch of crap that's not real based on some. I'm going to tell all my Republican friends, hey, guys, when you guys do a bill, just put in there, no matter what the bill is, even if 99.9% of the bill has nothing to do with something, put in there something that is insane. So if the left votes against it, they're going to be voting against penguins or polar bears or panda bears or something that has all to do with feelings, and then have the media say stuff like, well, I guess the left really hates panda bears. They really can't stand platypuses. There you go. What's the don't say? It's not the don't say gay bill. It's not. This is the things that people are arguing about. And why it matters is because it's coming near you. You got preschool. My kid goes to private preschool for reasons like this. I see what my son goes through, especially my little brother, and I couldn't do it anymore. Not in today's world. I just find it ridiculous that this stuff is going on, and you can't even have an honest conversation. If I tried to have a conversation and say, that bill doesn't really say that, and you're a preschool teacher, you shouldn't be teaching your kids about anything when it comes to sex or any of those things. You should be teaching them about, hey, this is an elephant. It's, this is a mouse. This is the color, whatever. Not I'm a drag king and I don't care what the government says. I'll do what I want with my preschool. If that was, my kid would be out of there in 5 minutes. And that's because it took me 4.5 minutes to get to the damn place. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com/Chad. Go there, get your free bag of Rough Greens. You cover the cost of shipping. Give it to my dogs every single day. That's Doodle and my other 2 dogs. I don't talk much about them, Red and Bowie. I want to make sure that their life is off to a great start. And we've had 0 problems. We're 2 years into both of us having both of them. They have never ever been to the vet outside of getting their first checkup and their shots. They're never sick. They have tons of energy. We give them the same food, sprinkle Rough Greens with vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9s right on top of their food, and away they go. They've got tons of energy, sometimes a little too much energy. They're just happy and healthy. Your dogs can be that way. Rough Greens stands by what they have, and they're telling you to do the same by putting them to the test, right? Because you're like, maybe I don't believe it. Well, you stand by that, but you got to put it to the test, right? ruffgreens.com/Chad. You cover the cost of shipping. You get a bag for free. ruffgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid?
What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to the Chad Benson Show.
Hey, this is Chief Bowles with the Anderson Police Department. We're starting a TikTok page.
Chief, you don't hold the phone like that. Don't hold it right. They can't even see you.
I don't. Why?
Stop that.
Hey, this is Chief Bowles with the Anderson Police Department. We decided to get on the TikTok and do some things
TikTok,
for...
Chief,
it's the TikTok.
We don't say that. It's just TikTok.
It's the internet. I was around when the internet was invented. You weren't there, Jack?
I love it. There's cops trying to do some fun stuff. Originally started out, the chief had no idea what he's doing. I was telling the guys, he's trying to film himself, and all I see is top of his head. So something your mom would do. They're not done. Anderson Police Department, I believe it's in Alabama, and the chief's still struggling a bit.
Decided to make a TikTok page for some community outreach, put out some videos, kind of how the department works from the inside,
Is that
recruiting
a filter?
videos.
Well, we don't need you don't use a filter for this.
I like it.
Chief, you look like an idiot.
You do it, Jake. I'm done.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Jake Ford with the Anderson Police Department. I'm an investigator here. We started this TikTok page to kind of do a little community outreach and kind of reach out so everybody can kind of get an inside look at what we do here. There's going to be more videos coming. They're going to be kind of upbeat, funny, but you're also going to get to see what we do here on a day-to-day basis. Stay tuned for more.
Same thing I said, Jake.
No, it's not.
One of the times he accidentally does hit. They realized early, okay, if we have some fun with this, because you don't know what you're doing, but I'll play around it. And it's funny because there's 2 guys in there. One guy who's a little bit younger, and the chief accidentally puts on this stupid filter where he's got his hat sideways. It's just, you're like, you guys are great. You're doing it right. You get it. You understand it. It's a police chief you want to work for there, kids. I'm just letting you guys know. Breaking marriage news. Kourtney Kardashian and old Travis Barker have tied the knot. Oh, my goodness me. How terrified is Kanye that Pete's going to pop the question? Uh-oh. Kanye's not showing up at Coachella because, well, crazy. That's what I think some people thought he was going to be. Like, go off the rails. And I mean, you know, I think he's interesting, and I think he's manic. Do I think he's going to go off the rails and do something insane? I could see him like stopping the show and just talking mad crap for a long time, and he just doesn't care. But he's not showing up. He's just going to take some time off. Him, Phil Mickelson, Will Smith. They're all just going to go into an island and just relax, try to reset, recalibrate, if you will, get themselves back into a better headspace. Follow along at Chad Benson Show, Twitter, your Instagram. It's Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
War crimes. Yeah, not a shocker. War crimes have been around forever and a day. They're not going anywhere, and it's horrible. What has taken place in certain regions throughout Ukraine are absolutely war crimes, and we're getting them documented almost in real time. And it is awful. It is nasty. But to think that Putin will ever see a moment on trial anywhere is foolish.
We meet Mykolaiah alongside his neighbors, finally getting help. He takes us to graves behind his building, where he says he buried 3 of his friends, killed by the Russians. They were looking for anyone under 50, he says. I ask how old he is. He says 53. He says they lived underground while Russian troops occupied their homes. These are tears of relief, I say. Yes, he replies.
Yeah, and you're going to hear lots of that. Some of the stories of the rape, it is vile, it is disgusting, but Putin isn't going to pay a price that we think he should pay. Right? This isn't one of those things where, you know, we're going into his country, we're going to storm in and we're going to arrest him. That would have to happen from within. And that's not happening anytime soon. He is, what did our buddy Mike Lyons said? He's coup-proof at this point. He's essentially coup-proof because the people that are around him have benefited greatly and they're terrified. Because he's got everybody terrified who's around him. Could they be next? Could they be the people arrested? Could they be the people that are tortured and killed? This is where we are. And he's going to end up doing something that should piss us all off. You know, I've heard more and more of, we talk to Mike Lyons, so much about what we talk about is about the military side of stuff, the fighting, the day-to-day, the grind, the weapons, the whole 9 yards. But he's pointed out on numerous occasions, while he's losing, quote unquote, the war and the battles in certain areas like Kyiv, he has won several battles in key places that he's always wanted. One of them is the Donbass region. This is Jens Stoltenberg from NATO.
In the coming weeks, we expect a further Russian push in the eastern and southern Ukraine to try to take the entire Donbass and to create a land bridge to occupied Crimea.
Yeah, which is what he's wanted. That's why it originally came out. Remember the whole regions? He goes, they're separate regions. We declare them separate regions. Who are you to declare parts of my country as a separate region, and we recognize them as such. But what that'll give him is that land bridge he so desperately wants to a warm port in Crimea, and some of those lands have massive natural gas reserves. He's going to get what he wants, and while everybody's thinking he's failing, yes, in some of the here's the one place where he's failed when it comes militarily. Outside of his nuclear weapons, which is something you should be terrified of, nobody is fearing the might of the Russian military. Nobody is. Outside of that, NATO is not shuddering that if there was no nuclear weapons, that they can't beat back Putin and his military rather easily at this point, is the way they're feeling. All that being said, as long as you got nuclear weapons, well, people don't usually step if you got them their nuclear weapons. This is where we are. It should piss all of us off, but there's not a lot that's going to change. They're going to continue to document it, as they should, where people can see the things that have been done to make sure that the world understands, to isolate Russia even more, to continue to hit them with sanction after sanction after sanction, to find a way to break the addiction that Europe has rightly, in their minds, they thought rightly so, we're going to get in bed with this guy because, well, we're all peace, loving, and everything's good. But then what happened is you started chasing that dragon and you never caught it. Now you're beholden to a man, and we need to break that. And I think that will happen in the coming weeks. The sanctions that are coming, I would say, in the next 3 weeks, and the Europeans will start as the weather starts to change, and it's changing on a daily basis. It's getting warmer. The warmer it gets, the less dependent they are on oil and gas, in particular to heat their homes. The better it's going to be for Europe to say, we don't want your oil and gas, which will put him in a situation where he's going to be beholden to the Chinese, to Pakistan, and India for them to purchase a ton of their oil and gas. And if you're those countries, you're not paying top dollar if nobody's competing for your oil and gas. And that will put some pain on him. That's it. But that's still not here. But as it gets warmer, we will see that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. You guys remember this thing called COVID? Does anyone remember this? Yeah, COVID. It's called COVID. It was a horrible nightmare that popped out of Wuhan in China, whether it was a lab or some sort of a wet market, as they would call it. Nobody's really sure. It was a lab. And because we don't really know, it was a lab. This is, this nightmare we've had for 2.5 years. Well, there is a guy that's still out there that is monitoring it for all of us, and thank God for that.
The CDC has been very clear, as you've indicated, that in fact, if things turn around and you have a rather substantial uptick in cases that is associated with an increase in hospitalizations, the CDC might turn around that recommendation and say, we've got to go back to indoor masks. I think there's going to be a lot of pushback on the part of the American public in doing that.
You think? I can't even listen to you anymore. You think? Pushback? Guys, we got to go back to indoor masking. So everybody get the masks that don't work and put them on again because we need a show of stupidity. Who wants a shot that's waning? That should be, hey, can I have a waning shot?
Yeah, get this. A man in Germany is in trouble after he got 90 COVID vaccine shots so that he could sell forged vaccine cards. 90 doses. That guy could eat fried bat for dinner and be fine. And this is annoying. Even after 90 doses, the CDC says he'll probably need another booster in about 4 months.
It's so true. It's not very nice, Chad. It's the reality of it. And more, man, you're seeing people who are doctors that a lot of people followed, right? And in particular, the media fawned over, who are saying, hey, guys, you don't need if you're somewhat healthy, you don't need to get another booster. You don't need it. I don't know, but it's all about the money side of it, because money is big when it comes to this. Look how much money. Did you see that article last week? There was so much money for the PPE and all of that stuff. And it was like, they're calling it the biggest heist of all time. I mean, the kind of stuff, like, it's the stuff that you go and, and you look, and like all these people that are synonymous with, Ponzi and all of these heists and these, you go and look and you're like, my God, the amount of money that was stolen is through the roof. Through the roof. So money's still huge. And these pharmaceutical companies are like, hey, don't forget about us. We still need more. There's got to be some variant out there that can do something. There's got to be some variant out there that may be dangerous. There's got to be something out there. Not at this moment. And I know there's a new variant, right? We haven't even got through this other variant that is supposedly out there. It's 400 kabillion times more transmittable than the last 8 variants. Now we got a new one.
This XE variant is a hybrid of the Omicron subvariants BA1 and BA2, and it was first detected here in the UK, where there have been around 600 cases discovered since it was found back in January. The World Health Organization is monitoring the situation. They say it's possible that XE is slightly more transmissible than other previous variants, but that data is preliminary.
600 since January. Omicron got here, and within like an hour, everybody had it. 600 since January. We're in April, for God's sakes. Stop looking for something. I think we're moved on with our lives. This is the question we should ask from now on. How much do we have to give you to go away? Right? Rather than, what do you need to continue the charade? What do we need to do to give you? How much of is it to go away? And we don't want to hear from you until it's absolutely so beyond pertinent that we must hear from you. Like the flying Ebola virus, complete with machetes and machine guns. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Eden Pure. Here's something for your air that'll make it smell amazing, baby. Eden Pure, right? It's the Oxyleaf 2 Thunderstorm, right? So I've got it throughout my house. I've got it now in my new studio that we're setting up. It is incredible. It is the best air purifier around. There's no filters to buy. Plugs right into the wall. It's great. I've got it in my lizard rooms. You would never know that I have lizards. You would never know. I've got it where we've got dogs. You would never, ever know. And the house that we have, a smoker used to live there. You could never tell. It smells fresh and brand new. It's incredible. Oxyleaf 2, right now, you can save $200 on the Eden Pure Oxyleaf 2 Thunderstorm. How do you do it? You can get 3 units. You're going to use code CHAD3. 150,000 units have already been sold. 0 floor space, plugged straight into the wall, no filters. It is idiot-proof and smells amazing. And I mean amazing within moments. It doesn't take but a couple minutes, and the entire house and room and everything smells delicious. Get yours, save big, 3-pack right now. Full coverage, kitchen, office, bedroom, anywhere, studio. Get rid of those odors. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. Put in discount code CHAD3 to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code CHAD3. Eden Pure Deals. Discount code CHAD3. EdenPureDeals.com. Shipping's absolutely free. Make sure you use code CHAD3. Chad Benson Show.
I usually don't get into politics, As an ordinary suburban housewife, I feel a little disrespected. I teach my children not to name call.
You are a blabbermouth!
Come on, man.
Guys, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum?
Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let's take a peek, find out what's trending on the webs of inter and net. Start over in the world of Google. NCAA basketball, Kansas. Historic rally last night. Came from 16 down to win their fourth NCAA men's title. Congratulations to them. Rock'em Sock'em Robot? No, I don't think that's it. I know they have a saying, and I don't know what it is. I don't think it's Rock'em Sock'em Robot, which would be great, but I don't think it is. Elon Musk is trending because, well, he just bought his way onto the board of Twitter, spent $3 billion or thereabouts to grab himself about 9.2% of Twitter's shares, making him the largest shareholder. He's now been welcomed into the Twitter fold, and I don't think they're thrilled by that at all. The Masters is trending. Oh, of course, it's about race. It's a golf tournament, you boobs. That's right. Tiger, will he, won't he? I'm going to say Tiger Woods is going to play. How do I know it? Because I'm watching him warm up right now. So he goes out. He's going to go out, and they're going to play another round, practice round. Yesterday, the crowds were massive. I tweeted a picture. He and Fred Couples, one of his good friends, and JT, Justin Thomas, went out, and it looks like there's about 20, 30,000 people. Like it's a Sunday, and it's a practice round. But he's going to play. There's no way he's not playing. Head on over to Twitter where everybody fights about everything because, of course, they do. Elon Musk is trending because, again, purchased himself some stuff. Gets to be on the old board there at the old Twitter. Don't know what he's going to do outside of scaring people. Chick-fil-A is trending. I'm sure they did something horrible to somebody. No way. Yeah, of course they did, because they're not woke enough. They're not morally enlightened in the way that they should be. Stop saying woke. Kanye pulls out of Coachella. That method never works. But he's not going to be performing at Coachella. Now they're trying to find... Because if you spent money and you thought you were getting Kanye, right, which would be entertaining because you're not quite sure what Kanye you're getting. You might get a bunch of hits, or you might watch a meltdown. He is not going to be there. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, yet another phenomenal tweet by her, essentially saying that Susan Collins, Murkowski, and Romney, who are going to vote for KBJ, they are pedophile enablers. Because KBJ does have some questionable ways that she has gone about sentencing some people in courts, but they all fall within the parameters of what's there as far as the law goes. So is it much to do about nothing, or is this another situation? She is going to be confirmed. But this is what happens when people want to be Twitter famous more than they want to do their jobs. And I see a lot of that in politics now. It's more about being a celebrity. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You want to know how awesome our world is comparatively to others? And I'm just going to say this. We are so blessed. I know this is the worst country to live in, and it's sexist and racist and homophobic and all of those things. And we've got all these problems, and nobody has access to anything whatsoever. And you just, the fact that we don't eat each other because we are such a mess is amazing. But on the other hand, maybe our world is so good that people can sue Burger King because false advertising. Their Whopper isn't as whopping in size as it could be, and so they're getting sued. Like, that's where we're at in this world. Somebody's going, "I'll be damned. That giant burger isn't giant. It's only kind of giant." Oh, God, you're right. That's false advertising. Yes. Suit brought by attorney Anthony Russo alleges Burger King began inflating the size of its burgers in images around September 2017. Before that, the suit claims Burger King more fairly advertised its food products. Today, the size of virtually every food item advertised by the King is materially overstated. What? Yes. He singled out advertisements of Burger King's trademark Whopper, saying the entire burger is 35% larger than in real life. Whoa. The suit cites witnesses, multiple YouTube users who specialize in food reviews. And it's not the first time Burger King has been accused of inflating food in its ads. The United Kingdom's advertising authority cited the company 12 years ago for burgers that had height and thickness considerably less than what was advertised. California judge approved in 2020 a $6.5 million settlement in a class action lawsuit filed against Chipotle over what was alleged to be a misleading non-GMO advertising campaign. So the 6 million people who got involved with that got $1. No. They got 1 cent. The other 6.4 million went to the lawyers. Good God. That's how you know life is great. We're fighting over the size of food on advertising. We're at that point in our world where it's like, God, you know what? I went in to purchase something and I bought it. Don't look anything like it. Don't look good. It don't look good. It's not big like I thought it's going to be. I'm going to sue somebody. Okay. My God, what is wrong with us, lads and lasses? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. You know, race is big business. That's the other side of stuff, right? Race is business. Racism is business. Are you following here, kids? What do you mean racism's business? It's absolutely business. Like even the slap heard round the world. Tiffany Cross, MSNBC, last week.
Is in the news, and you know, Will came up with that statement yesterday, and it was worth talking about. I'll try to put this in context for our white fellow countrymen as best I can. And really, truly, Black America, there is a commonality amongst us all. And if we went to a white person's home and it was their family dinner, and we were sitting there at the table, and the mother hauled off and slapped the father, and everybody at that table has an opinion. You know, the sister's like, "Mom, you always do this," and the brother's like, "I can't believe you guys are doing this," and Dad is like, "You're terrible." If I weigh in as the guest in this home and I say, "Yeah, you guys are terrible," everybody's like, "I'm sorry, when did you get an opinion? This is our family table."
So what you're telling me is that nobody should have an opinion on an award show where you invite the entire world in and that person got slapped in front of the world and embarrassed because, well, you can't have that opinion. By the way, whether you're white or black at a dinner table, if somebody reaches over and slugs somebody, you can have an opinion, right? You're allowed to. This is the scary thing. You're not allowed to have an opinion. And the only opinion, if you are to have one, is, yes, you're right. White people shut up. Straight people shut up. tall people shut up, thin people shut up, whatever the prevailing virtue signal winds are blowing. But racism's a business. And business, for some people, they think it's booming. Nah, it's not. But they'd like you to make you think so. Jon Stewart, last week, he's got a show now. It's called The Problem With. And so he has several people on. And this time it was the problem of white people, right? Because we're just a pain in everybody's ass. White people are awful. Blah, 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 blah. Everything is racism. That's all they ever see is racism. And Jon Stewart has this like, I don't want to say it's a round table because it's a very long table. I think Putin would have really liked it because it's pretty long. So it's him, an old white guy, a just absolutely awful, whiny, liberal, insane woman that is on, and Andrew Sullivan, who's a Brit, who's immigrated here, is now American citizen, who is, I think he's 58, and he's gay. Oh, jeez. Not that any of those things should matter, but he also happens to be white. And he said, look, I thought I was coming on to talk about something. It wasn't until really right before the show that I realized this isn't him and I having a discussion. This is basically me versus the audience, me versus the panelists. And he had thought, when you read his Substack, it's very interesting. He said, look, this is a guy who's come out and he's talked about things in the past of, hey, we need more light, less darkness. We need more positivity. And so, but in the day and age, it's about being, how guilty can you be? Because it's big business. That's really what it's about.
I'm just gonna, for however sincerely we want to reckon and listen, the truth is America has always prioritized white comfort over black survival. Black people have had to fight so hard for equality.
All of that so far is true. None of that I find to be disingenuous. At a time when a vast majority back in the day, of course it was about survival. White survival. None of that stuff is what I'm hearing you say is wrong. That's yesteryear. We live in a modern time, right? We live in a modern time where in modern times, things get pushed by the media, like, don't say gay, Bill. It's not what it says. The narrative gets controlled, but that's not the reality of it. It's like having the voter ID and then having a bunch of white people going, I don't think we should do that because it's racist. Well, why is it racist? Because black people don't know where the DMV is, or they don't know how to use the computer. You've heard those things before. So he brings on old Sullivan there, and then it just kind of goes south.
As if everything is already settled. We know this country is, for example, a white supremacy. Well, I don't believe that. I think it's possibly the most absurd hyperbole I've ever heard. I'm an immigrant, so I have a slightly different view of this. I can tell you, America in 2022 is the most multiracial, multicultural, tolerant, diverse melting pot that has ever existed on planet Earth, and there is no other place on Earth even like it. That's why 86% of our immigrants are non-white.
Let me ask you a question, though, Andrew, because
this country.
Yeah. So then it kind of, he's holding up. Agree, 100%. Agree. It's like the war's going on. And it was like, why are we not paying attention to other wars? Because, first of all, we have the attention span of the gnat. Secondly, this war over here has nothing to do with the color of the skin of, I don't know, the Ukrainians. Oh, yes, it does. No, it doesn't. It has to do with the fact that this has an implication to every human being on the planet, from food to the cost of getting food to energy, to keep lights on and things powered globally that others just don't. That's just the reality of it. There you go. Period. Case closed. Racism is big, big, big business. It's huge business. That's not changing. And it's business. Let me tell you something. See, BLM, they're coming out. People are saying, hold on a second. You bought how many homes? Yesterday, you have how many garages in this $6 million home you bought in Los Angeles so you guys could do YouTube videos? How's that helping the Black Lives and Mattering? The business is too big.
This is what happens when you...
Now, they bring this lady on who's there. Lisa Bond is her name. She is spectacular in her guilt. In fact, she is so spectacular that she hosts this dinner thing, right? So you can go there and you can go to this dinner that costs $2,500 to go to. And it's a race dinner where it's called Race to Dinner, where you can go and women are invited to feel guilty. And in doing so, well, that makes everything better.
This is what happens when you don't talk about it. This is what happens when white people don't talk about it, is you have racist dog whistle tropes like this that actually perpetuate.
Oh, yes, that sounds like something we should care about. She's good.
And I did not come on this show to sit here and argue with another white man. That's one of the reasons that we don't even engage with white men at Race to Dinner.
Oh, yes, another good. White men suck!
Because quite honestly, if white men were going to do something about racism, you had 400 years. You could have done it. Okay? So
I am 58 years old.
I'm shutting you down right now.
I am not responsible for anyone before me.
Yeah, and that's what he goes on to say. I'm not responsible for anybody before me. Yes, you are. You're responsible for every action ever taken in the history of ever for the culture of which you continue to live in. And she's white, but she's the right kind of white. She's the guilty white. She's willing to have a $2,500 dinner to show everybody how guilty she is as they sit around and pontificate about crap that's useless and does nothing for anybody. But you don't even understand. Oh, my God, get over yourself. Racism's big dinner, big business. And let me tell you something. You know who's, hey, people out there who care. You know who's getting rich off it? White people. Guilty white people have found a way to take racism and go, hey, you know what? I can make a buck. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. My goodness me. More of that a little bit later. It's just nuts. Just crazy. By the way, the Race to Dinner experience includes 2 hours with Regina Jackson and Saria Rao for 8 white women. The business states participants receive a pre-dinner support, post-dinner consulting with the resident white woman, Lisa Bond. Dinner attendees can expect to be asked such questions as, what was a racist thing you did recently? This is so stupid. My God. But Chad, aren't you all, we said, at some point it's like, you're racist. All right, whatever. I'm moving on. I got other things going on. Have a good day. Have a great day. Oh, Healthy Cell. So when you go and take vitamins, and I've been doing this now for several weeks now. They sent this to me. Healthy Cell said, Chad, try this stuff. Like 250 million Americans, 250 million people, 240, 250 million people just in America alone take supplements of some sort. And they're awful tasting, right? And they don't really give you all the things you need. That's where Healthy Cell comes in. It's a micro gel. And I take it for focus, which I love, but I also take it for my sleep. And my sleep has gone through the roof compared to where I was a while ago. And it is a horrible thing. We don't sleep enough. You put on weight. It's not good for you. Let me tell you something. I'm sleeping better thanks to my REM sleep from Healthy Cell. It's simple and easy to take. It's a little packet. Open it up, suck it down, put it in some water, whatever you want to do. Away it goes. Microgel ensures the maximum absorption of premium nutrients, including magnesium, L-theanine, melatonin, 5-HTP, and GABA. It is awesome. Helps boost my creativity. I'm feeling amazing. I'm getting deeper, better sleep. And it is incredible. And it's easy. And if I can take it, anybody can. And it's a microgel. So you're actually absorbing all of those nutrients in the way that you should be. Right now, journey to a better health with Healthy Cell. Go to healthycell.com/Chad. That's healthycell.com/Chad. When you do, use that promo code, 20% off your first order, healthycell.com/Chad. Use that promo code for 20% off your first order, healthycell.com/Chad to save big. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
The president does not believe. He believes it's ludicrous for Russia
to
be a member of the Human Rights Council. And certainly the ambassador spoke to this today, and while she was on her overseas trip, and she will continue to make the case in her role when she returns to New York.
Why not seek to permanently expel them?
From the Human Rights Council, I would point you to our UN ambassador on what specific steps, but obviously removing them would be the next appropriate step in the process.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. So the UN, which is, talk about corrupt organizations, they rotate the Human Rights Council. Currently, Russia is the president and head of the Human Rights Council this year. And as we all know, they do a phenomenal job at human rights. So you got that going for it. Zelensky is speaking to the UN, basically saying, how do you allow these people to stay? This is crazy. This is nuts. Of course, it is. How in God's name do we do that? I mean, honestly. Like, what was the UN was created for what? Outside of them having cocktails, playing grab ass, cutting some deals, everybody that goes there gets wealthy. What exactly is supposed to go on? And the blue helmets, of course, where they go out and they try to feed, countries that are struggling, only to find out that they do none of those things and it all goes south. It's a joke. It really is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program, follow along, as always, across all the social media. You love, your hate, it's all welcome. I just sit there and smile and say, what are you going to do, right? You get into a business where you're going to be having some profile and you have any kind of opinion whatsoever, people are going to say things about you, and that's part of the business. The wonderful world of, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to move on from Twitter today. Oddly enough, that goes away when you're watching TV and hanging out with your family. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And gas prices is what we care about here. We know that. We're like, oh, it's horrible what happens to Ukraine. It's awful. My God, I paid $5 for gas. We do care. Let's not pretend that we don't. But we also care a lot about our pocketbook. We're like, I don't live there. It's awful. But that's the reality of it. And gas prices, well, they're there. They're up. You know that. I know that. They're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Because of this war, there has been about 3 million barrels per day of Russian crude that has been taken off the market. And that's what's caused these prices to go through the roof.
Yeah, that's a portion of it. And it's not because the 3 million are taken off and we're like, oh my God, what do we? Here's the way it works. The supply and demand, as we all know, that's out there. It's not like, that I only want Russian crude. You go and you purchase what you can, right? I want this, I want that, I need this. So you don't know where the crude's coming from. But we're saying, all right, look, in the pot that we can choose from, let's take out 3 million of these. Now, we were already running at somewhat of a deficit, so it made things a little bit more expensive. So now we've just excluded 3 million barrels on that open market. Of course, there's going to be issues. Jennifer Graham will continue.
The oil and gas producers here have said that they will by the end of this year, about 1 million more barrels per day. Until that we get to that point, what the president has done is release 1 million barrels per day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve so that we can stabilize these markets.
Yeah, and we're going to put pressure on the likes of OPEC and several others who may, hey, you know what? Can you make up for this? You don't have to make it all up. There was talks of Venezuela.
There's no plan on buying oil from Venezuela.
Why not? We should just invade them and take their oil. That's all we do because we're evil white people. And then, of course, whose fault is it? Well, of course, it's the fault of the oil companies and their greed and evil.
There are about 9,000 permits that have been issued by the Biden administration to the oil and gas industry that have not been acted upon.
No, and there's several reasons for that. First of all, just because you have a permit doesn't mean that you're going to go out and drill today, right? That's one. Secondly, I get a permit. Some of the permits you get, this disingenuous. You may get 9,000 permits, so you look around. Some of them are already on places you're like, there's no oil here. We've already done the research. So you've issued this to us, and we've taken it up. We've done our homework, and we're not drilling because there's nothing to drill for, or there's very little to drill for. It's not worth it. It's not advantageous financially for us. Then there's the other side of it is, hey, there's plenty of oil here. Here's the problem. You have made it so difficult for us to not only drill for oil, to get the oil up to the surface, to ship that oil, by continually putting in regulation after regulation after regulation, that it's not worth it to us financially to do anything. Between lawsuits and regulations, every barrel we'd pull out would end up being a loss for us. And if the market does go south, guess what? It's going to be a super loss for us. So why would we want to do that? Well, there's no doubt they're enjoying every second of oil being through the roof. They're just eating it up. But it's disingenuous to say we've given out 9,000 permits and they're all easily turnkey, able opportunity for people to go and to drill and just take it out. And there's going to be zero repercussions. It'll be simple and easy. That's a lie too. That is. Green energy, while exciting, and you know what? Stop talking green. Start talking alternative fuel. Start talking smart alternative fuel that can work. Because we're still 90% worldwide fossil fuels. So this dream of magical Pegasus flying cars, and I got into a car and I just wished it would go, and it did. That's not happening. What we should be doing is drilling. What we should be doing is becoming the kings of energy, the queens of energy, making the world a little bit more dependent on us and how we do things in a greener, more sustainable way, while supplying them energy and protecting ourselves, especially now that the world is fragmenting, and it is. It's completely fragmenting. The global dream is... It's gone now. It is. It's China and us. It's, at this moment, Pakistan and India with China and a few other nations. And it's us. And the Western modern world that we would think about when it comes to the West. It's kind of where it's at. Oil's not going anywhere. Let's be smart about it. Let's look for alternative fuel sources that are actually stable, consistent, but in doing so, let's use the things we have and let's use it to our advantage in a safe way. Shouldn't be that hard to sell to the people, but it's hard when people, well, they're living in a world of emotions. That's a tough thing, and it's hard not to. It's like right now with all that's going on in the Ukraine, it's hard not to look at all of these things that we're seeing over there in virtual real time. Not black and white videos 20 years later on the History Channel or the Military Channel, but actual real time, within hours. Bodies are still smoking, tanks are still on fire, death and destruction. And that's what we've had in Bucha, which is horrific.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressing the UN Security Council in the wake of the atrocities in Bucha. As Ukrainian forces retake ground in Ukraine, this town, just miles northwest of Kyiv, is revealing a glimpse of what will define this war. Because along with the devastation and the countless signs of Russian defeat, the bodies of civilians are being discovered, apparently executed in the streets.
Executed. Absolute execution. I like what they say here. And again, this is a war zone. These are crimes against humanity. These are individuals who were slaughtered. They were slaughtered. Period. Case closed. End of story.
Zelensky traveling to the area on Monday. This woman thanking him for, quote, staying with his people. The pain of this town all over the Ukrainian leader's face. These are war crimes and will be recognized by the world as genocide, he said. The White House confirming Russian forces are now retreating from Kyiv to Belarus, but warning Russia is likely to deploy tens of thousands of troops to Ukraine's east.
Yeah, because they've got plans, and the plans are simply this. Take the Donbass region, hold the Donbass region, have all the stuff that you wanted pre this. You didn't win the battles that you thought you were going to win because too much of the world stood up and said no. Too much of the world stood up and said, here's the things you need to fight these SOBs. And you also sent a bunch of young boys out there, besides some of the hardened killers you have, to do your bidding, and they were ill-prepared and under-equipped. And they got their ass handed to it by a bunch of people who were fighting for something that we should all believe in. Freedoms. So you've lost that part. But to think that he's ever going to spend any time in any prison or on trial would be just, it's not going to happen. It's a fantasy. It's just a fantasy. It's never going to happen. He recognizes where he's at. He understands that. But isn't it weird that he might get all the things he kind of wanted before this, that we've had Mike Lyons on numerous occasions saying, look, this is what he really wants. These are the things he really wants. And lo and behold, he may be getting those things.
In the coming weeks, we expect a further Russian push in the eastern and southern Ukraine to try to take the entire Donbass and to create a land bridge to occupied Crimea.
Yeah. Well, that kind of the things that Mike's been telling us for weeks is that's what he wants. He wants that land bridge. He came out first and he said, this Donbass region and stuff, this separatist region, we're going to recognize it as it's on its own. He's gone in there. He's pretended to fight Nazis. We're still looking for the Nazis everywhere. And as they find said Nazis, which they don't find, oh, Chad, there's Nazis. Yeah, shut up. They've got the things they wanted. They're going to get another giant puddle of natural gas and some oil and reserves there, and they're also going to get that wanted bridge. Because at some point, Zelensky's going to have to make a choice. And the choice we've talked about on numerous occasions. How many more of my people need to suffer before it gets to the point where we are so financially ruined and that we have lost so many of our countrymen and women, not just to the war itself as far as physically with death, but people who have fled the country and may never come back. He has to make that decision. And then he has to start thinking about, when does the West tire from this and say, cut a deal because we're getting bored and it's costing us a ton of money. And you're not getting back this land at this moment in time. Those are all things I think he has to think of. But right now, I think Putin is thinking, you know what? Everybody tells me I'm losing. He's not lost anything. Some of his people have. His people inside the country are losing. But he himself, personally, he's doing okay. And it's sad. It's sad. Trust me, when you hear stories about, you know, how many of you out there have heard, well, he's had cancer doctors, said the other, you think, if there's anybody that deserves to get that, it's that son of a... But no coup is happening, at least not right this second. And there is, as long as he has men who are going to be forced and or willing to go fight and die, he's got equipment that he's willing to sacrifice. This thing could go on forever. And you have to ask yourself, who do you think can outlast the Putin? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. The largest shareholder is now on the board. We'll talk about who that shareholder is, what board he is on, and what does that mean for said company. Hunter Biden, is he dragging the big guy, the demented one, into a nightmare when it comes to his dealings with all kinds of stuff, from China to Ukraine and everywhere in between, and why it matters and why something bigger came out of this that should matter to all of us. A lot of stuff still to get to. My Pillow right now has a delicious offer for you. Normally $109.99, $109.99. But you can get these amazing towels for $39.99, $39.99. That's right, kids. Cotton grown in the United States of America. Absolutely fantastic. It's not lotiony like you get it on. And it's just, you put it on your body, these towels, and it soaks it up, and it's not scratchy. It's just an amazing, incredible feel. 6-day money-back guarantee. Machine washable, 1-year limited warranty. Tons of colors and styles. So you get the big towels, you get the hand towels, and you get the little washcloths. Fantastic. Absolutely incredible. I use them every single day when I'm taking my shower, getting out of my jacuzzi. It's awesome. 6-piece towel set, $109.99. Yours right now, $39.99 with promo code Benson. You go to mypillow.com. Use that promo code Benson, mypillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975, 800-983-4975. Deep discounts on all MyPillow products, but grab this right now, the 6-piece MyPillow towel set, $39.99 today, right now. MyPillow.com/Benson. Use that promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Boys, give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
A total of 3 Republican senators say they will now support Judge Jackson's confirmation to the Supreme Court. The latest, Senator Lisa Murkowski joining Senator Susan Collins, announcing that she will vote yes. In a statement, Murkowski praised Jackson's qualifications and the important perspective that she would bring to the court. She also called out the corrosive politics around this process, saying it is growing worse and more detached from reality by the year.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And it's sad that we're in that position where many of these people vote for them to get on federal courts. And it's 85 to 14 with one person not voting, or and then when it gets to the Supreme Court, it's like, okay, everybody quick into the trenches and fight. Now, she's going to be confirmed. I said there would be 3. There's 3. I said it would probably be these 3. It's these 3, Mitt Romney and Collins and Murkowski. I don't know who else is going to, if there's anybody else out there that would jump ship, if you will. Look, there are other questions about some of the, cases that she's handled. Yeah, you can question it, but if you go and look within the statute of what she was given as far as guidelines, and we're talking about, sex crimes, against, pedophiles, she's followed those guidelines. Not like she said, "Oh, I'm not going to follow these guidelines. I'm going to give you only an hour in jail." But she was always going to get through, and that I don't think was really any issue for the Democrats. And now they'll have more than just a little bit of breathing room, which is more than I could say for the likes of the Democrats when, Kavanaugh and that absolute crap show, and, Amy Coney Barrett and the vitriol that you see in a lot of these things is ridiculous. And they're right. In fact, we're going to talk about who are the most popular politicians. It's very interesting. You see who is popular. And it goes to show you that common sense and this thing that we've started here is real. We just need a stronger voice. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's time I start doing stuff. It's like one of those. Really? That means I got to tweet more. I got to do more. Maybe it's time. Talk about straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
He's rich! And he's not happy with the old Twitter's verse. Elon Musk is taking on Twitter. Literally taking it on. Saying, I'm going to buy some of it up. And he has. A decent amount. In fact, enough to get himself a position.
He calls himself the techno king of Tesla, and now Elon Musk can also call himself a Twitter board member. The world's richest man tweeting Tuesday that he's looking forward to making significant improvements to the platform in the coming months. Investopedia's Caleb Silver says the move shouldn't come as a surprise.
Billionaires like to control media platforms. Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. Mark Benioff bought Time. This is Elon Musk's way of getting into the communications business.
Yeah, not a shocker. He's been hinting around, talking about things that are, I think, matter, which is, free speech. Not allowing people to scream, whine, and moan because you don't like what somebody says, and because you don't like what somebody says, that they should be deplatformed, they should be taken away, their voice shouldn't be heard because they have a differing opinion. Even, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has to fight all the time. Think about this for a second. Spotify goes, and they say, look, here's a bunch of money. Ends up being like $200 million. Bring him over. By they, I mean the people there who work there. They get upset. They get angry. They want their voice to be heard. Fine. You should have your voice heard. You don't agree with him. Fantastic. Start a podcast where you go and talk about how much you don't agree with him. No, rather than that, I just like you to take him off the platform. He said this last week.
If I become something different because it grew bigger, I'll quit. If it gets to a point where I can't do it anymore, where I have to do it in some sort of weird way, where I walk on eggshells and mind my P's and Q's, that.
Yeah. Well, he's evil and he's bad, he's horrible, and he spreads disinformation and lies. You have everything at your fingertips. This is a lie. Okay, then if you know it's a lie, then your argument should be, let me tell you why this is a lie. Not, I don't want to hear that. I think it's wrong and it should be shut down. Twitter is become the king of that. And Facebook, not so much Instagram, but those two, right, or the kings of, well, I deem this to be an evil lie. Because it's an evil lie, you should be allowed to be heard, because only the things that we want on this platform, which, by the way, if you are saying something and somebody disagrees with it, and the people say this is a private company, but we're going to make editorial decisions, then you've lost the power of the protection that you hope that you want, right? With all of these titles and the protections that like phone companies should have and all of these things, because you're saying to yourself, no, I'm going to actually editorialize and I'm going to be the person that makes certain decisions on things. This is the current CEO of the Twitter. His name is Parag Agrawal. And when you listen to what he has to say, he talks about the First Amendment and free speech as if there's something that we shouldn't really care too much about. That's a scary thing.
Our role is not to be bound by the First Amendment, but our role is to serve a healthy public conversation. And our moves are reflective of things that we believe lead to a healthier public conversation.
Okay, first of all, if you didn't know what he said, his role isn't to be bound by the First Amendment. Well, if you're operating here and it's an American company and this is where the vast majority of your business is, this is the First Amendment. We have the First Amendment here. And you want to have healthier conversation. When you shut a conversation down on the other side, let's just say, I don't know, Hunter Biden and his laptop. What's on the laptop will come out. What's on that other laptop, we'll never know because the Russians probably have it. That was what he was really worried about. And we're going to find out more as that goes on. But to me, the bigger story is the fact that you decided, along with Facebook and several others, that this story wasn't real and it was all lies and disinformation. And you decided that people shouldn't have the opportunity to hear it or talk about it, much like you did with the Wuhan lab and several other things where you decide, hey, no, I don't like this. That's not a conversation. That's authoritarianism where you're clamping down and saying no. He continues.
The kinds of things that we do to work about this is to focus less on thinking about free speech, but thinking about how the times have changed. One of the changes today that we see is speech is easy on the internet. Most people can speak. Where our role is particularly emphasized is who can be heard.
That is the scary part. Where our role should be emphasized is who can be heard. So free speech is easy on the internet, so we want to make sure that we get to decide who gets to be heard. That's scary. The Joe Rogan. We have people throwing a fit because they are upset because Joe Rogan said something they don't agree with. Okay, again, that's life, right? Like I have things that, my wife and I, we don't agree on everything. It doesn't mean that, I would like to cancel my wife and vice versa. That's ridiculous. It's nuts. It's crazy. Twitter. We don't think that this is a story. Based on what? The story is the stuff that you don't get to hear. The story are the things that you don't get to when you have media that's willing to frame things to fit their narrative. That's the scarier side of things. And that's where we should step back and go, well, hold on a second. It's a little scary here. The hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? Because you don't like the mean guy that tweets? You don't like this? It's sad. It's sad. It's very sad. Now he has taken it upon himself to go and purchase some of this stuff. And here's the thing that people will tell you about the old Elon.
Musk doesn't put one toe in the water. He dives into the deep end of the pool. This is a start of what's going to be probably a long-term soap opera between Twitter and as well as Elon Musk.
Well, Chad, where do you draw the line of free speech? Look, if you're advocating the death of people, unless, of course, you're, Israel or somebody like that, I mean, feel free to say all the things you want to do about killing Jews and Americans and everything like that. I mean, that's fine. But if you're advocating death and stuff, graphic, sexual in nature, it's not that you don't have the right to say it, but if children can get at it and sort of let's use common sense in this, right? Somebody said, well, why shouldn't sex be all over there? Well, you're right. Then why do we have to rated R movies? It's about common sense. If I believe that the Wuhan lab played a major role in this, and whether it was specifically because of the Wuhan lab and an escape virus potential, should be able to have a conversation about it. If I want to discuss, I think the Earth's flat, as insane as it may be, you shouldn't be shut up for that. And that's the part where I hope And I think he's going to push. They're understanding that times are changing. Somebody's coming in. Do I want him to control it where only his vision is out there? No. But I think a majority of Americans want to be able to have a conversation. And if you can't find out the truth, right? Well, this person says it's flat. You're 2 seconds away from 1,000 clicks of anything you want to know about something. But we're so lazy and disingenuous, we won't even look for those things. I just want that person shut up. It's not going to happen. I don't know how much he's going to buy. I'm assuming he's slowly but surely going to acquire bits and pieces along the way. But he has vowed that he is going to change this. I don't know what that means. We're going to find out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. And it's interesting because this young woman's talking about posting dumb crap on the internet.
I used to always share my opinion online. No matter the topic, I was ready to dive into the discourse even when it had nothing to do with me. The result? Me posting a lot of dumb shit. Before I knew it, I was posting dumb shit online every single day. Until all that changed. Now I don't post dumb shit at all. What's my secret? Silence.
Ooh, silence. That's her secret. Shh.
Surprised? I was too. Turns out you don't have to post anything at all. It's not required. Sometimes you can just be quiet. My girlfriends ask me, but Cheryl, wouldn't that be censoring yourself? Is this the end of a free society as we know it? No. It's actually something else. It's called maturity.
Yeah, it's true. Maturity. That's pretty amazing. What does that mean? Well, being mature. You don't have to react to everything you see. And people say horrible things to me all the time. Horrible, horrible, horrible things to me. DM'd. They'll say stuff. And you know what? It's the internet. I'm never going to meet you. You're probably never going to meet me. You're lashing out at something. And at no point in time am I going to sit there and feel like I've got PTSD because of this. What I am going to do is go, and then move on with my life. But doesn't it upset you? Nah. There's not a lot you can do about it. If you're going to be in a position where you decide you want your voice to be heard, and whether you've got 1 follower or 1 million followers, somebody's going to probably critique it. That's just the way it is. And you move on. And you find out when you're sitting at home, hanging out with your kids, that at no time does Twitter attack you while you're watching TV and your phone's across the room and you're hanging out with your kids and you're playing video games or whatever. No, that doesn't happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Volodymyr Zelensky.
It is obvious that the key institution of the world, which must ensure the coercion of any aggressor to peace, simply cannot work effectively.
Yeah. Talking about the Ukraine, his country, battling the Russians, and why the UN sucks and can't work if it doesn't actually do anything whatsoever. Touch on that. Plus, who's the most popular politicians? I want to get to this. CarShield, 24/7 roadside assistance. A rental car for free while your car's in the shop. The shop is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. It's as simple as that. They do the paperwork. You pay a small deductible, move on with your life. Things are getting more expensive. Labor's getting more expensive. Used cars are more expensive. New cars are more expensive. Why not keep what you have and protect it with CarShield? Over 1 million drivers been out by CarShield. Why not be one of them? I've got it for my cars. You should get it for yours. Whether your car's at 5,000 to 150,000 miles on it, does not matter. Over 1 million drivers have trusted CarShield. They've got plans to fit anybody's budget. That's right, anybody's budget. No matter the wallet size, they're there to protect you. Try it now. Save yourself 10% and lock in your forever pricing. And if you get it now and you hold it for 5 years with this car, or 3 years, that price will never change. Go to carshield.com/Benson or call 800-391-8888, 800-391-8888. You're going to save 10% right there and get your forever pricing locked in. That's carshield.com/Benson or call 800-391-8888 to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
Well, as of right now, I feel like I am going to play. As of right now. I'm going to play 9 more holes tomorrow. My recovery has been good. I've been very excited about how I've recovered each and every day, and that's been the challenge. That's why I came up here and tested out for 27 holes, because we played the par 3 course. Charlie couldn't help himself. So was able to play 27 holes that day, and at home testing it. But it's the recovery, how am I going to get all the swelling out and recover for the next day? And my team has been fantastic and worked very hard. So we've got another day of 9 more holes, and then come game time.
Tiger Woods a little while ago. As of now, I feel like I'm going to play. It's not a shocker. I think once people saw him there and the way that he's coming out and doing the things he's done, you knew he was probably going to play. Just a little over 13 months after that horrific wreck. So this will be interesting. And here's the other thing that people talked about. Much like Elon, he doesn't go into things with a tiptoe. If he's there to try to compete and win. It's not look how good I did. I made a recovery and I'm back. I think he thinks if he's going to play this thing, I'm playing it because I feel like I've got a chance to win. So we'll see. We'll see. But as of now, he is in. Volodymyr Zelensky, speaking to the UN today, which we all know is useless. So they should be called useless network of countries that's blue helmets. Stupid blue helmets. Talking about a lot of things, including what went on in Bucha, which is some people saying that thing was staged. It's crisis actors. Those weren't people killed and buried.
It is 2022 now. We have conclusive evidence. So there are satellite images. We can conduct full and transparent investigation. That is what we are interested in. Maximum access for journalists, maximum cooperation with international institutions, involvement of the International Criminal Court, complete truth and full accountability.
Yeah. The UN has been nothing but useless. The fact that they're sitting there on the Human Rights Council as the presidents this year is nuts.
They support hatred at the level of the state and seek to export it to other countries through their system of propaganda and political corruption.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much of that is absolutely true when it comes to Russia. And he can sit here, though, and talk about the war crimes.
The Russian military and those who gave them orders must be brought to justice immediately for war crimes in Ukraine.
But the reality of it is, it's not going to happen. Just not going to happen.
There could be individual prosecutions. All of that, revolves around whether or not individual Russian soldiers, commanders on the battlefield can be captured and then brought to a court of law, something that, may not be likely, particularly for those back in Moscow. Secretary Blinken wouldn't say whether or not the U.S. knows that these soldiers on the battlefield are not, just rogue actors, but have ties back to Moscow.
And that's really, let's be real, the war criminal, the person who perpetrated these heinous things. If that person could flip and give up Putin and we could capture him and put him in jail, put him on trial, and then whatever happens, people would say, I'll take that gladly, as horrible as that was. It's never happening. It's just not. Sad but true. Sad but true. Solid fun show, as always. Got through everything. Congratulations to Kansas. They won the national championship last night. Tiger Woods going to play in the Masters as of right now. We got you through the day. We'll do it again tomorrow. That we promise you, kids. Follow along at Chad Benson Show. Twitter and the old Instagram, 323-538-2423 is your text line. Have a taco. Enjoy yourself. Be kind. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.